Now this disc right here, the Procyon, is very interesting. This is beefier than I anticipated it to be. As you can see, that's pretty beefy. Procyon could be a good forehand disc for me. So I'm not a forehand thrower, but that was a really good throw for me, like in general. Usually if I get in that area, I'm happy. So I'm a little stunned right now. I'm a little confused. This might be one of my best drives ever on this hole. I think I'm about 120 out. I'm gonna try to reproduce it. I did like a, call it the monkey paw grab or whatever, where your thumb goes like that and you grip it pretty hard. So I'm gonna give that another shot. I'm gonna say it's about the same. When I started personally rating this disc and thinking about its flight characteristics for me, is very interesting. I was watching another video and Robbie C compared it to the Wraith. And I thought about it and I was giving the flight characteristics something very similar to the Wraith. 11, 5, negative 1, 3. So I'm gonna test it out now against the Wraith and see how it holds up. I will say this Wraith is a little more beefy than my previous Wraith, so that'll affect some things too. All right guys, let me save you some time. So I threw the Procyon side by side with the Wraith. Here's what I discovered. The Wraith I had was definitely one of the more beefier Wraiths I've had. It's Star Plastic, so it's definitely not the Halo, which is super beefy. But the Wraith was more stable than the Procyon, 100%. I got more push out of the Procyon, I got more distance out of the Procyon than I did with my Star Wraith. I actually did get the Procyon to 380, which, you know, that's a good distance. I could have gotten it to 400, but unfortunately a mother with her 2 children came onto the field and I was not going to mess around with trying to get big distance and an accident happened. No way, Jose, not doing that. So I was trying to think about what does the Procyon remind me of? And I come to think about it, I think it might remind me a little bit of this guy, the Sword. I would say that the Procyon is slightly slower, but the numbers I'm going to give it, here are my numbers. It is 11, 5, minus 1, 2. Now, they list it as 11, 4, minus 1, 2, so I just think it has a little bit more glide. And when I initially was testing it out, I think I was throwing it on holes that I probably shouldn't be throwing it on, a little shorter as in like 325. And so when you're not giving it like the proper strength, of course it's gonna fade out. It's gonna seem beefier. When I had some longer holes where I could really rip into it, I got good push, got the turn, got the fade. I would just say it's a little glidier than a 4. I think it's a 5 glide. So it probably flies similar to a Sword or Beat-In Wraith, those are very similar discs. I would say it has less dome than the Sword, at least the one I have. But I'll be intrigued to see if this one fits in my bag. I'm gonna have to throw it on more forehands because I really do see a lot of potential there. I don't think it's going to quite get me for my distance. I think my Star Destroyers still push a little further. And my Mambas, of course, are more of my controlled hyzer flip. But I don't know, it could potentially become a good hyzer flip disc that pushes straight and then fades back at like 350 and is a little better in the wind than the Mamba. So that's my take on the Procyon. I think it's a really good disc. I don't know if I'd quite put it at the great level yet, but I don't know. I kind of wonder as it beats in, it might be that distance, like straight shooter, might be amazing for turnover shots. I think this will be really good for an intermediate arm or someone that has a really strong forehand and you need to push it further. Or actually, I take that back. Maybe someone who has a weaker forehand. This might be a really good disc. Now, the big arm pros or the dads who got that monster strength, this disc is going to turn over more for you than some of the higher speed disc. But you might need a shot like that. So this is the first Trash Panda disc I've ever thrown, and I'm pleased with it. I think this is pretty cool. I like their mission to recycle plastic and for it to be renewable in the long run. So hats off to Trash Panda for that. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time.